welcome to another PTS Light. I'm Rob Troutman. It's March Madness. It's that time. We're all doing our brackets here on Primetime Sports. They're uploaded to Facebook, and now we're giving you a PTS Light video with why we have our picks. Now let's go to the South, in which Kentucky, Duke, Baylor. Let's look at some of the other teams. You have UNLV there. You have Notre Dame and Xavier. My pick to come out of the South is Kentucky. I have them going up against Duke. Duke has struggled a little bit this year, but when it comes down to it in tournament time, they always seem to do well. But I think Kentucky overall, they have the height, they have good shooting, good point guard play. Might not be the best, but it is good enough to come out of the South with a win. Then you go down to the West, and that's where Michigan State is the #1 seed. And in the Big Ten tournament, they were absolutely dominant. They won their first Big Ten championship since 2000 over a tough Ohio State team, which, if you look at Ohio State, they're a team that struggled a little bit during the year, ups and downs, but a big win in the last game of the season against Michigan State. They carried that into the tournament, were dominant against Michigan. They struggled a little bit against Michigan State, still played very well, and I expect Michigan State to come out of the West. If you look at the bracket, also you have a good Missouri team who's been pretty hot looking in that division. You also have teams like Louisville. You have Memphis. You have Long Beach State, who can be pretty dangerous out of there. But, again, I picked New Mexico to beat Long Beach State. They take on Louisville. Michigan State takes on Louisville. And in the bottom of the West bracket, Marquette takes on Missouri, with Missouri taking on Michigan State and Michigan State coming out of that. And you look in the Final Four, I have Kentucky facing Michigan State. And that's going to be a very tough physical matchup. Now let's go to the East, in which you have teams like Syracuse, Kansas State, Vanderbilt, Wisconsin. A tough Cincinnati team. Florida State, who continues to get hot in the ACC tournament. Very impressive, getting a win there. Florida State just throughout this year has gotten stronger and stronger. You have Gonzaga taking on West Virginia, and Ohio State taking on Loyola, Maryland. I have Ohio State going against Florida State. Cincinnati beating Texas. Florida State takes on Ohio State there. I have Ohio State winning that. I just think overall, you look at the bigs for Ohio State. Jared Sullinger's there, very impressive. And down in the low post, they're very dangerous. But when you have William Buford and some of the other players that can shoot three, Deshaun Thomas presents some problems for some teams there. So I think Ohio State will beat Florida State. I have Syracuse, even though Fab Melo's out of there, I still have them facing Ohio State in the Elite Eight and making it Ohio State winning and going to the Final Four. Now let's go to the Midwest bracket, in which North Carolina heads up there. You have Michigan taking on an OU team who just got hot at the right time in the MAC tournament. You have Kansas. You have a Purdue team there, St. Mary's, Georgetown. I have Kansas taking on Purdue. Kansas gets out of that. They take on NC State, which is a shocker. They're a number 11 seed, but they seem to have gotten a little bit rolling. That's one of my picks that I'm not too sure about. North Carolina State takes on San Diego State. San Diego State has gotten better and better as the year has gone on, but I have NC State taking on Kansas. Kansas winning the Midwest division in the lower bracket, and I have North Carolina taking on Michigan, which some people think OU can spark an upset on Michigan, as do I. I think OU can be dangerous. They have good outside shooting. They're a scrappy team, but I think Michigan is going to be too strong in the end. I think North Carolina takes on Michigan, and North Carolina gets an easy win. It'll be North Carolina and Kansas. Here's my Final Four picks for you. Ohio State takes on North Carolina, and Kentucky takes on Michigan State. All in all, I think Ohio State had a great Final Four run in this, but all in all, North Carolina's too tough. When you have the bigs down low that can be very dangerous, and they have the good outside shooting. They're a little more consistent this year. They've been very tough all year round. I think North Carolina is going to beat Ohio State and will advance to take on Kentucky in the championship game, and that's going to be very tough because North Carolina has a pretty balanced team, but Kentucky does too. Anthony Davis in Kentucky, I think, would be a difference maker in that game, and I had Kentucky winning against North Carolina 81-76, and Kentucky is crowned champion in this year's 2012 Men's National Championship game. I'm Rob Troutman. Those are my final 4 picks. Let me know what you think on Facebook. Our brackets are up. They'll also be on our website. Let us know what you think. And, yeah, we may be a little bit crazy, but we have a lot of fun as well. So I'm Rob Troutman, and this is my PTS Light on my March Madness Championship bracket.